Well, Hunter's lawyers are expected to file paperwork in Delaware asking a judge to dismiss the gun charges against him today. He was indicted on 9 tax-related charges in California on Thursday and is expected to appear for a preliminary hearing in that case sometime this week. All this as House Republicans prepare to vote on formalizing their impeachment inquiry against President Joe Biden. That comes this week. Now, the first son is speaking out. During a rather odd appearance on the podcast of musician Moby, Hunter complains the media is trying to kill him. That's the liberal media, remember, they covered for him, while Republicans try to destroy his father's presidency.
One of the reasons why I'm going to survive this, and I'm going to survive it clean and sober, is because I am not going to let these use me. They are trying to, in their most illegitimate way, but rational way, they're trying to destroy a presidency. And so it's not about me. What they're trying to do is they're trying to kill me, knowing that it will be a pain greater than my father could be able to handle.
There's a whole lot of me. Lisa, okay. So the liberal media is trying to kill him. This is the same media that stifled and buried the Hunter Biden laptop, called it illegitimate, called it Russian disinformation, and they're trying to hurt Biden's presidency. I seem to remember an entire weaponized DOJ, FBI, all coordinating Russian talking points with the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I guess did Republicans force him to do blow with prostitutes too? Like, I don't you know what I mean? It's like his dad is president of the United States, oversees this Department of Justice. Merrick Garland's his handpicked attorney general. How is he the victim? How is he the victim in any of this? Yeah. Right? It's his own actions. He's the one that instead of paying his taxes, spent tens of thousands of dollars on new teeth, on prostitutes, on blow, on all these designer clothing, right? So he's not the victim in any of this. And then furthermore, if it had have been for the whistleblowers who stepped forward, Hunter Biden would have gotten off, right? You talked about that sweetheart deal that was blown up. Merrick Garland originally wasn't going to make David Weiss a special counsel. David Weiss already let the statute of limitations run up on the Burisma tax crimes. So he's already gotten a sweetheart deal. And so it is to the credit of those whistleblowers who stepped up, who were brave, to have risked societal scrutiny, career scrutiny, the attacks, that Hunter Biden is facing any charges at all. So he is no victim, boo-hoo, and he's a bad guy.
Yeah, no doubt about the whistleblowers. And getting to the legal component of this, Abby Lowell, this is Hunter's attorney. He was out this morning and he said, oh, this wouldn't happen if his name wasn't Hunter Biden. Watch.
Hunter's been treated differently than others in similar circumstances would be treated. It's because his last name is Biden, but it's not like they're going after, you know, some distant cousin. It's because he is the son of the president who's named Biden. I wouldn't be surprised if they reach back at a time that Hunter was in a stationery store when he was 11 and took a piece of bubble gum and see if they could charge that.
So that's Abby Lowell saying they would choose Hunter's bubble gum. But Emily, I want to flash back to Gary Shapley, not a Republican, not a conservative activist, a whistleblower who said quite the opposite. Watch.
There were definitely hindrances that I've never seen before in my 14 years concerning this investigation that didn't allow us to follow through on investigation of any other individual, to include President Biden. The most substantive felony charges were left off the table.
So which is it, Emily? Was he targeted because of his last name, or did he get special treatment?
Well, I actually argue that he's gotten special treatment this entire time, that frankly he's been enjoying an immunity and an impunity that the rest of Americans don't enjoy. And to your point, you know, these whistleblowers got massive blowback. Their professional careers and their personal lives were absolutely destroyed. So Abby Lowell can go on his marketing campaign all he wants. That's part of his role as counsel and attorney, right? He can try to shape essentially how America views this person. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Hunter Biden spends his money on, but there are consequences if what he spends his money on are illegal and if he evades taxes. And the reasons why Americans care so much is twofold. Number one, the intentional and massive use of the influence peddling that he's been engaging in for years. That impacts every American directly. And secondly, because if he enjoys evading taxes, then the millions of Americans who don't get away with it, They see him as getting away scot-free. And I took particular note in that interview when he made it all about himself and as if we only care about him being an addict. No one cares. Actually, no one cares. What we care about is you getting away with things just because of that last name. And he talked about in that interview how with the advent of Trump, essentially, that's when he said there was a food to the rage. And that's when he said, my dad's been in office for 50 years. All of a sudden, now there's a criminal enterprise. I note the irony. It's not that Trump gave food to rage. It's that he gave a voice to those that were sick of it. It's that he gave a voice to those who felt like, oh, that's what's behind the screen, the curtain. It's an absolute toxicity that people like Hunter Biden and people like that whole Biden family want us to just keep swallowing. Stay quiet, Americans. We know better than you. We're the Bidens. That is what was ripped off. Enjoy prison.
Well, Lee, take a look at this. This is from the indictment. This is page 2. Take a look at this passage here. The defendant served on the board, the defendant being Hunter Biden, on the board of a Ukrainian industrial conglomerate and a Chinese private equity fund. He negotiated and executed contracts and agreements for business and legal services that paid millions of dollars. This is the important part of compensation to him and his domestic corporations. Look at that name, Owasco PC. Okay. So rewind a week, and you have House Oversight Committee who said this. Today, House Oversight Committee on Oversight and Accountability Chairman James Comer released subpoenaed bank records revealing Hunter Biden's business entity, here it is, Owasco PC, made direct monthly payments to Joe Biden. Joe not mentioned in the indictment, but this raises some questions.
Oh, yeah, and the 10% for the big guy also connected to Owasco. If Abby Lowell wants to say that he's being targeted, Hunter Biden, his client's being targeted because of his last name, Hunter Biden's own admission, he got all of this money overseas because of his last name. And these are relationships that started when his father was sitting in the White House as the vice president. That's when they started to engage China. He was traveling with his father over to China. He was getting this gig with Burisma while his father was in charge of U.S.-Ukraine policy for the Obama administration. So for Hunter Biden now to say this is all because of my last name, in a way, yeah, you were the first one to admit that this is all because of your last name. And to Lisa's point, he's gotten away with it and gotten some sweetheart deals so far because this is the Biden Department of Justice. And that has caught up to the Biden Justice Department. So now the next level he ends up with just a little bit more of accountability. I'll tell you what, there's some debate like, will President Biden stay? Will he get replaced? There's got to be something in the back of his mind right now about possibly needing to pardon his own son before he leaves.
Yeah. Well, and he could pardon him, even win or lose the election. I mean, he could pardon him. He'll still have time after the election. I'm sure it's on his mind. You know, a big week in Congress. Wednesday, you have Hunter Biden under subpoena to show up and testify, closed-door hearing. And then also this vote to authorize an impeachment inquiry likely to take place this week.
I really am curious if Hunter Biden actually now does show up on Wednesday for that closed-door testimony. I think that that's going to be a big question mark now. They're going to use this as a reason for him not to go to. And that's Abby Lowell, who you know, Emily, is a very, very aggressive defense attorney. But back to the whistleblowers, I'm glad you brought that up, Emily, because remember what they told Congress in their testimony, again, testimony that destroyed their lives. They said that anytime that they would present evidence in their investigation that was connected to Joe Biden, they were specifically told, hey, that's off the table, stay away. The statute of limitations, that actually expired. That's one issue here. Plus, again, going back to the California charges, $1.4 million in tax evasion. Any average American, and I know y'all know this, that would be charged with this type of tax evasion would absolutely be prosecuted immediately to the fullest extent of the law. That's what the IRS does. That's why they want 80,000 plus more agents, because they want to go after tax evaders. That's the Biden administration. But, oh, if it's your son, oh, never mind. We're not going to go after that tax evader. I mean, this is the double standard that we've seen. One other point I want to make, I did listen to the podcast. We don't hear a lot from Hunter Biden, you know, right? I really wanted to hear his voice and how he presented himself, his demeanor. He basically shamed anyone in recovery in that podcast by saying that the Republicans, he said the Republicans, they want to go after anybody in recovery and prove that we are degenerates, that we are never going to amount to anything, that we can't be trusted. Those are quotes from Hunter Biden in that podcast. I found that really shameful and disgusting. That's your defense to throw other addicts, recovering addicts, under the bus?
Well,
Yeah,
apparently his memoir came back to bite him in
Oh,
these
yes.
tax charges. So yeah, he probably
Cited
shouldn't
often.
be. He should probably just keep his mouth shut moving forward.
I found myself wondering if the lawyers had greenlighted that Hunter Biden podcast appearance. It was entertaining. Go listen to it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.